The laughter started before the lawyer even finished reading the will. Sharp and careless, bouncing off the cracked marble walls of the old estate like an insult that refused to fade. Daniel Carter stood alone at the far end of the room, his worn jacket smelling faintly of rain and motor oil, his service-worn posture stiff with quiet dignity. He had survived explosions overseas, the long silence of nights that never truly ended, and the slow unraveling of life after returning home. Yet nothing cut as deeply as the sound of his own family laughing at what was left to him. A ruined mansion everyone else was relieved not to inherit. The house had been abandoned for decades, its roof caving in, its halls filled with mold, dust, and forgotten memories. To them, it was a joke. To Daniel, it was a last thread tying him to a past where someone had once believed in him. And standing at his side, pressed close to his leg, as if sensing the weight of the moment, was his old German shepherd, Max, the one soul who had never laughed at his losses. If stories about silent strength and second chances matter to you, if you believe that the quiet heroes of this world deserve to be seen, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, so these stories can keep reaching hearts that need them most. Daniel had never expected much from life after the war, but even he had not expected to be left with nothing but a crumbling mansion and a box of old documents no one else wanted to carry. The rest of the family walked away with cash, property, clean homes, and warm congratulations, while he was handed keys so rusted they barely resembled metal. He drove to the mansion the next morning with Max in the passenger seat, snow flurries brushing against the windshield as the estate slowly emerged from the trees like a wounded giant. The mansion sat on a hill overlooking frozen land, its windows dark, its stone walls cracked and stained by time. It looked less like an inheritance and more like a burden designed to finish off whatever strength Daniel had left. Inside, the air was heavy and cold, filled with the smell of damp wood and neglect. Daniel moved slowly through the rooms, boots crunching over broken glass and fallen plaster, his breath visible in the air. Memories he barely remembered clung to the walls. A childhood Christmas spent here before everything fell apart, a grandmother's hand resting on his shoulder, a voice telling him that land and history mattered more than money. Those words had seemed foolish once. Now they were all he had. Daniel told himself he would clean what he could, sell the land if possible, and move on. But every step through the ruined halls felt like walking through a graveyard of forgotten promises. Days turned into weeks. Daniel lived out of one heated room, repairing what he could with salvaged tools, selling scrap metal for groceries, and ignoring the messages from relatives who still joked about his castle. His body ached constantly, old injuries flaring up in the cold, and some nights the weight of loneliness pressed down so hard he could barely breathe. Max became his anchor, following him from room to room, ears alert, eyes sharp, as if the house itself was speaking in a language only he could hear. It was during one of those bitter afternoons, while Daniel was clearing debris from what used to be the West Wing, that everything began to change. Max started behaving strangely, refusing to leave a section of the floor near an old fireplace. He scratched at the stone, whined softly, and circled the same spot again and again. Daniel tried to pull him away, assuming it was just another animal scent trapped in the walls. But Max was relentless. There was a tension in him Daniel recognized, the same focus he had seen in combat zones when danger was close or something important was hidden just out of sight. Curiosity overcame exhaustion. Daniel pried up loose stones and cracked flooring, revealing a hidden latch embedded deep beneath layers of dust and mortar. His hands shook as he pulled open, exposing a narrow stairwell descending into darkness. The air that rose from below was dry, preserved untouched by the decay above. With a flashlight in one hand and Max pressed close against his leg, Daniel stepped into the unknown. The hidden room beneath the mansion was vast, nothing like the damp cellar he expected. Shelves lined the walls, filled with sealed crates, leather-bound ledgers, and metal cases stamped with dates from decades past. The flashlight beam caught the glint of gold, documents wrapped in oilcloth, and artwork carefully packed and preserved. Daniel's heart pounded as he realized this was not junk forgotten by time. This was something intentionally hidden, protected, waiting. Over the following days, Daniel painstakingly cataloged what he found. Bonds, rare artifacts, deeds of land long sold, and financial instruments that had quietly grown in value over generations. His grandmother, dismissed by the family as eccentric and sentimental, had been a careful guardian of a fortune no one else knew existed, a fortune hidden not out of fear, but out of disappointment. She had believed wealth revealed too easily corrupted those who had not earned it. She had chosen silence instead. When Daniel finally took the documents to a legal and financial expert, the truth was almost impossible to grasp. The hidden assets, once verified, were worth over $200 million. The ruined mansion, everyone laughed, it was a key to a legacy that could reshape not only Daniel's life, but the lives of countless others. The news spread fast. Calls poured in from relatives who once mocked him, their voices suddenly warm, apologetic, eager to reconnect. Daniel listened quietly, then declined. He understood now what his grandmother had seen long before he ever went to war. Wealth revealed character, and character, once shown, could not be unseen. Instead of selling the mansion, Daniel restored it carefully, preserving its history rather than erasing it. He turned part of the estate into housing for struggling veterans, men and women who, like him, had returned home to find the world smaller and colder than they remembered. He funded counseling centers, service dog programs, and quiet retreats where healing did not require explanation. Max became a symbol of it all, a reminder that loyalty and instinct often see what pride and greed overlook. As the mansion came back to life, so did Daniel. The nightmares faded. The pain did not disappear, but it softened, carried now by purpose rather than regret. Each repaired wall, each warm light in a once dark room, felt like reclaiming something stolen by time and silence. The laughter that once echoed in that house was replaced by something stronger: gratitude, resilience, and hope. If the story has touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that strength does not always roar and that loyalty can change destinies, take a moment now to like this video, share it, and subscribe so more stories like this can reach those who need them most. As winter settled over the hill once more, Daniel stood at the restored mansion's entrance, Max sitting proudly at his side, snow falling softly around them. The house no longer looked ruined. It looked protected, purposeful, alive. Daniel understood then that the greatest inheritance was not the fortune hidden beneath the floor, but the chance to become a man his grandmother had believed he could be.